Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Michael Gray, President of Socratic. Today's webinar, Building Your Customer Intelligence Engine, Research Pros weigh in on effective consumer panels. We're excited to kick off this conversation. With recent fraud indictments shaking up the sample industry, a lot of organizations are taking a fresh look at how they protect the quality of their research. Today's focus is on internal customer panels, how to build them, how to use them, and how to make sure they deliver ongoing value. This is also the first installment in a three-part series. Each session will explore a different pillar of high-impact insights work. But first, who is Socratic? We've been around for over 30 years. Our brand promise is simple: setting insights higher. That means raising the bar for quality, clarity, and for decision-making impact. To deliver on that, we use a three-part framework we call the Socratic Insights Engine. Construct, engage, transform. Construct, uncompromising data quality, smart dashboards, and the right panels to power your insights program. Engage, we create intuitive, human-centered experiences that lead to better data. Transform, we deliver insights that don't just inform, they move organizations forward. The result? Smarter intelligence. More thoughtful, more strategic, and more complete than what most clients get from a typical research vendor. Now, let me introduce the panel joining us today. From Socratic, Kushi Trivedi, one of our most senior research directors. Kushi leads many of our panel and tracking studies and brings deep expertise to building insight research programs. Next, with Red Lobster, Cassie Albertson, a seasoned insights leader who helps organizations build and run their own panels. Cassie brings practical know-how and strategic vision and a real-world perspective that's invaluable to generating insights. And finally, from Potbelly Sandwich Works, Eric Chanel, a longtime collaborator and an expert in consumer insights across industries. Eric is a passionate advocate for data quality and brings a thoughtful view on the evolving needs of research leaders. For today's session, we'll jump right into the topics with a roundtable discussion. We won't be taking live questions, so please drop any questions you have into the Q&A panel and we'll follow up with you directly. And yes, a recording will be available. Let's get started. First, Cassie, why did Red Lobster decide to create a customer panel? What was the business case that was driving that decision?
Really, the goal of our setting up the panel was to leverage our loyal guests to just be able to help us answer some, key business questions. So we reached out to our loyalty members to set up the panel, which really just proved to be a really great way to get quality data and insights in a cost-effective and time-efficient manner. And when I started at Red Lobster a little over 3 years ago, the panel was already in progress. So I just took over the implementation and setup of the panel, and I've been managing it ever since.
All right, and then Eric, why did Potbelly decide to create a customer panel?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, we always put the customer at the center of everything that we do. And so it's very important for us to continually tap into their voice and understand what they want, what they expect out of our brand and how we can, further delight them. And so it just is a natural fit for us to have a customer panel that we can do that with. With our panel with Socratic, we're able to do that as frequently as we need to, employ various methodologies. The great thing is that like Cassie said, you can recruit from your loyalty database, and so you've already got a base there of folks that are really engaged with your brand. And then, you recruit a subset to your panel. And so, when you reach out to those folks that they're really invested and they're giving you quality feedback.
Nice. Um, how has having a customer panel, helped you, both of your organizations move from like reactive research to proactive research? Can you guys give an example of that?
Sure. Yeah, I think certainly there's a lot of tactical types of research that you can do with a panel, but you can also do strategic research with it. And we've used it to understand, what are our customers looking for next from our brand, and that gives us some initial guidance to go with, and then further develop from there. And we often do, follow-up surveys with the panel to dig deeper, but getting ahead of the game and understanding, what are they looking for, is something that, is a great use of the panel to tap into your customers for that.
Yeah, for sure. As we're kind of building the pipeline from concept all the way to in market, we're leveraging the panel proactively for concept testing, which really is guiding the strategic direction of our promotions. And then, like Eric said, we're also using it for some tactical purposes. We've used it for naming studies and omnibus studies like quick polls and such things. So definitely working ahead of the game to help lead the direction for the team.
All right. So when you guys were thinking about setting up the panels, what made you choose Socratic, and what did other options kind of look like? I know, Cassie, you said that, the panel was already in progress when we started working together, but anything you can talk about?
Yeah, since Red Lobster, was already in the process of putting the panel together when I joined, I wasn't directly involved in that decision, but I mean, if I had been, I would have chosen Socratic. I mean, I do really believe that you guys are a leader in this space. And I've been really happy with the partnership and the execution of the panel and the results that we've seen.
Yeah, and I'd worked with Socratic in the past, and we've had a lot of success together. So when I came to Potbelly, it was natural for me to reach out to the Socratic team. I mean, frankly, I looked into other options as well. There's just not a lot of research experts out there that are doing panels and doing them as well as Socratic does them. And you really need a partner that understands how to recruit a panel, how to manage it over time, how to make sure the panel stays engaged, how to get the any incentives deployed to the panel, and also a partner that can help you think through all the research too, right? So I'm sure there's probably partners out there that dabble in the panel side, but they may not have as much expertise on the research side of things as well. So just some things, no matter where you're looking, that are important to consider as you're seeking to build a panel.
Yeah, so it's a nice meeting in the middle, right? So not a pure technology platform play and not a research only expertise.
So what's different about the responses that you get from a panel than other methodologies, like other types of research that we do outside of panel?
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly there's a data quality, right? Like I mentioned earlier, these are people that are invested in your brand and they want it to be part of your research panel. I mean, frankly, we don't need to do a lot to incentivize them to respond to the surveys. They really genuinely want to give their input. And of course, we love them for that. I mean, they're our valuable customers, and so we want to hear their input. And so we know we're getting quality data back when we use our panel versus using a random panel. Not that random panels can't be good if you've got the right one. And also, of course, there's research that isn't appropriate for a customer panel where you still need a random panel. But often what I found is that your customers are your lowest hanging fruit, right? And so understanding what they want is super important, and a lot of times is similar to what other consumers want as well. And so they can give you really great feedback.
Yeah, I agree. We definitely see higher quality And we also see a higher response rate, I feel like, than traditional panels, because as Eric said, they're made up of the loyalty members. So they're, a very engaged audience, and just really eager to share their opinion and feel like they're playing a role, in shaping the brand. So when you're getting quality data and more of it, I mean, that's a win-win for sure.
So I know that there's some opinions about incentives and whether to incent or not. So do you have perspectives on that and how that might impact the actual research you're executing?
I feel like it's a balance, or finding like that sweet spot where it's incentivizing enough for them to give genuine and quality responses, but not overly so that you're running up against fraud. I don't know, Eric, if you have any other thoughts.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cassie. I mean, I think there's a sweet spot there, and sometimes too, it'll matter what, type of research that you're doing. If it's a concept test, it may be enough to just do a, little gift card drawing or something where, some
Yeah.
folks have a chance to win a gift card. But for example, we've done catering research, and catering customers need a bigger incentive to take surveys, and so we've had to up the ante a little bit there for them. So, but
Yeah.
totally agree with Cassie. It's you don't want to over incentivize, and certainly when you've got, like I said, a panel of your customers on demand, and like Cassie said, a much greater response rate than you get in random research. Often you don't need to incentivize that much.
And I
Yeah,
think
it's always.
the
Go
higher,
ahead, Kushi.
go ahead.
I
No,
feel
the
like
higher
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, Cassie, we've seen that the higher response rate generally helps us with quick turnaround as well, right? Like you get in and out of field quickly because you have a high response rate.
Yeah, I mean, we can launch something in the morning, and by the end of the day, we have hundreds of responses. So I can kind of give the team a sneak peek, or a quick view on how the results are shaping and looking, and then follow up as we get the full sample in, which is helpful. The top line, as we call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're often challenged to deliver results faster and faster these days, right? And so panels are certainly very effective at that. I mean, I think the number one thing is make sure you've got a quality, well-built panel. And then, once you do that, once you have that in place, you reap the benefits of timing and cost efficiencies that you get with a panel.
Sure.
And then what strategies do you guys have for maintaining the overall panel health to make sure that once you've recruited these customers that they stay engaged with the brand, and our studies throughout?
We're together, Kushi and I are always kind of cleaning the panel and just ensuring that we have the active people. And then every couple of years we do a panel refresh. So that's where we invite new members from our loyalty club to just see if they want to join, and then also check in with the existing folks to just see if they still want to be a part of the panel. So I think that helps. And then we also look at the open-end responses. That's just a great way to look at the quality of those responses and just make sure your respondents are engaged, which for the most part they are.
Yeah, engagement was one of the things I was going to bring up earlier. It's a balancing act. You don't want professional respondents gaming it for the incentives, but
Right.
you want people who are, paying attention. So there's a lot of in-survey activities that you can do, especially open ends, convergent, divergent validity checks, things like that, forced response answers. So yeah, I mean, how many people do you think you remove, Kushi, on the panel in a given survey or in a given month that might be failing that attention checking that's going on?
Usually, we don't have to kick a lot of people out from a panel because they volunteered. And if they're taking a survey, that means they're interested. And usually, we get really good quality insights from
Right.
them.
So it's
Yeah,
not too much of a
especially,
problem.
no,
Yeah.
no, no,
I mean,
not at all.
less than 5%. I feel like it's not a large number that are churning.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If anything, I think like Cassie said, you refresh the panel annually, and there's always going to be some folks that, hey, they opted in originally and they've just decided, you know what, I've got other things going on in my life. I just don't have enough time. And that's great. I mean, we want to know that. We don't want to keep sending them survey invitations.
Right.
Nor do we want them participating in surveys if they're, not willing to be all in. So agree with Cassie. Those are great steps that we're able to take with you guys to make sure the panel still stays high quality.
Mm.
And I think another great strategy that you guys have in place for panel health is sharing infographics whenever you can, like of studies that you've done, quick polls, flash surveys that are particularly seasonal, like for Thanksgiving or Christmas or Valentine's Day, that we do, and we share back with the panel. And we've had feedback on that as well, that panelists like that. They like to hear that their what they did and just the results of their flash polls and surveys. They like that.
Yeah, I think it validates their responses. So I'm sure as a panelist, you take the survey and then you wonder what happens with the results and what did people say. So following up on certain topics that are not, business sensitive, like something fun like this, where we can close the loop and showcase what people said, I'm sure helps a lot in their engagement for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, I think these, we have the ability to pulse in single question surveys, flash polls to be able to maintain engagement with the panel. And
Yeah.
those are very helpful to, just give them a fun topic or something that is engaging for them to keep them coming back to the panel.
Yeah, something just light and easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's kind of move into cross-organizational collaboration within your organization. How has your panel improved your insights, and what's your role within your organization to kind of distribute the results?
Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, I think, as insights professionals, we're always looking to guide our leaders to the best methods. And, so we start with business questions, and then, if the panel is the right fit to answer those business questions, we'll make that recommendation. And so, they rely on that expertise, and that helps them get to know over time the power of the panel, right? Because you're recommending it at the right time for the right things, and they see the research results that come out of it, the insights, the recommendations that provide them with additional guidance on decision making. And so I think as long as you continue to start with business questions and then apply the panel where it's appropriate, then that's going to build your organization's trust in that panel, and they're going to really see the value of it. And certainly they love it like we were talking about earlier, when you can get things faster or more cost effective, just with, budgets the way they are these days, and the competition that's out there, having more speed to insights, speed to market is always important. So panels give you a great opportunity to have the best of both worlds.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it really has been a game changer. We're able to gather, as Eric said, quality data much faster and more cost effectively. And I've recently kind of taken it to another level where we're leveraging the DIY platform. When we first started, I was using more of a full service approach, but now the business partner, like we talked about, can come to our team, and to Eric's point, if the business question's right and the complexity of the project is a good fit for the panel, I mean, we can program the survey internally, we can pull the results and then create the final report, and we can do that in a couple of weeks, which is huge. And I just really like that we have, the flexibility to choose that level of support, whether we want to do full service or do DIY, depending on the objectives and the complexity. So yeah, it's been really great for us.
Yeah, I agree, Cassie. Having those options is pretty awesome. And I will say, honestly, the Socratic's DIY platform is superior to a lot of the other ones that I've used. It's the other thing I love about it is that you can go into it while a project's in process, and you can very easily pull data updates. I mean, it's
Right.
very intuitive. It's very, user friendly. So I love that, because there's other dashboards and things that I work with that are just, very time consuming for me to get to the answers that I need. So
For sure. It strikes a balance between being able to program complex surveys, but being user friendly, for sure.
And also there's the training programs we can set up for you with our programming team, so that when the time comes, you can do it on your own without too much trouble. And what we call, what is it? Software and service. So when you're in a survey, you have a problem, you can easily just pick up the phone and call Steve, and he'll take care of it for you.
Yes. I had Steve on speed dial when I was training.
Yeah, the learning curve is a little steep, but then
You level out. You level out.
And also the things that you can do with the learning, like all the skills, all the things that you can do, I think it's all worth it.
For sure.
Okay, so let's kind of move into the strategic impact the panel has had for you guys. Like, how has the panel helped the insights team like develop strategic recommendations for the business, like the types of research that you guys use this for and how it has helped your organization?
yeah, obviously every year we go into strategic planning, and it's very impactful to go into those, for leadership to go into those meetings with guidance on strategies that we might pursue in the coming year. And so we've used the panel to kind of uncover, okay, what things should we be focusing on with our customers, and then what are some key learnings around those areas that we can fuel into strategic planning, so that the leadership team is armed with the right information to be able to make decisions about planning for the business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, similar approach. I mean, we have promotional windows throughout the year. So as we're gearing up to plan for each one of those windows, we have kind of points throughout that process where we need to do research to help guide the strategic direction of that window. And so depending on the objectives, of course, we'll tap into the panel for any one of those various research projects. Typically, it's at the ideation and concept development stage.
And I think I have a final question for you. Like, what advice would you give to others who are considering building a panel for their own for their own customers?
I would just highly recommend it. I just feel like we were talking about in today's world where speed and cost efficiency are key, but they also want the high quality data. Like, they want it all as a marketer. And so I just think the panel's a win-win, where you can get that high quality data quickly and at a cost effective way. So I would definitely encourage any brand to look into building one.
Yeah, and there's, I've been at different growth brands, and certainly when you're at a growth brand, being able to get to your customers more efficiently is valuable. Sometimes when you go out there in a random panel and try to search for your customers, it's harder, and the incidence is lower, it gets more costly. And so that's where, having a panel on demand of your customers is very handy
Yeah.
for a growth brand. And so it definitely would recommend it in that sense. And then, for all brands, including, more mature brands, if you've been around for a while, you've got a lot of brand fans. And so, you should be listening to them and tapping into them, and, use them to help keep your brand on track so that you don't take your eye off, what's important to the customer.
Yeah. I would also add that I just think it's really crucial to ensure that you have buy-in from your marketing partners and leadership when you're going into the panel. That just ensure, which will build over time, that loyalty and trust of that data and that process. However, it is good to have it from the start, just to ensure that you have, relevant topics and a partnership to keep the panel engaged.
One other thing I'll add is the panel is another brand touch point as well. And so it's good to, find a partner that can help you build a panel website and other assets that are, consistent with your brand. And, so when the panelists engage with, the panel website and other assets, that it's familiar to them, it's aligned with how they think about your brand.
Totally.
And so that's important as well.
Yeah, cohesive.
And this is the fun part of building the panel, right? Designing the website, coming up with the name, and playing with the look and feel. I think it's the fun part.
Great.
Maybe sometimes better for the creative people than the researchers, though.
It's something different that we do, right? Like, we don't get to do that a lot, so it's nice.
Yeah.
Agreed.
True.
Yeah.
At least you can throw your 2 cents in, right? They may not listen to you, but you can try with the creative people. So
All right, so I think you kind of just gave your key takeaways. So I don't think there's anything more that you want to add. If there is, yeah.
I think a final thought is for Socratic. I just feel like as a team of two, I really consider you guys as a thought partner, and in my small and mighty team, I need that. And you've been more than just a vendor to me. So because of that, I just would definitely recommend, working with you, and I would recommend them to anyone for any research project, but definitely the panel. So thank you.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, kind of like I said earlier, you're trying to find someone that is an expert in panels, but also an expert in research, and can be a thought partner in terms of helping you design the best research and get the most out of it. So yeah, we appreciate the partnership very much.
As do we.
Yes.
Kushi, any last thoughts?
No, I think this was fantastic. Great conversation, you guys.
All right, so we do, like I said, this is a 3-part series. The next session in this series is going to be focusing on concept testing and dashboards. So it's sort of the next stage of leveraging the panel that you've created and disseminating the results in a way that's meaningful and comparative over time with benchmarks and yeah. Okay, so if anybody on the call wants to talk, drop your name in the comments, and we'll get back to you. If you have any questions, and we will make this recording available, and we'll get that out to the people that are registered, and we'll also be putting that up on the various platforms.